Good morning. How's everybody doing? How's your 2025 starting out? Okay. Glad to hear that. Awesome. Yes. I don't think it's ever any coincidence that they asked the fitness guy to speak in January, because we've done that like last 2 January. So for some of you who heard my story, I won't belabor that. Just talk a little bit about background, how I got started. My business is Optimal Fitness Systems, and over those years, I've taken on many different titles, many different roles, and till this day, continue to wear many different hats that you'll be hearing a little bit more about in detail. How did I get started in all this? Well, as a child growing up, I was kind of that kid that was just always hyper and getting in trouble. And back before the days when ADHD was even a thing, a diagnosis, it's like, yeah, I could have been a poster boy for that. So what was a good way to get out that energy? Yeah, well, this guy on the left here, who Lou Ferrigno, the Hulk, I watched him win the Mr. Universe like when I was only like 7, 8 years old, and I thought, wow, this is cool, like, how did they do that? And then, then came Arnold, and I was pumping iron buddies, and I thought, okay, yeah, I want to do some of that. And then I went on to play football, which the off-season training, a big part of that was obviously weight training. And so just to get into that, and I just fell in love with the iron game. And to one day dream that I might look like one of these guys one day too, but okay, that didn't happen. And then, okay, well, okay, speaking of time, but, all right, but as we kind of move the story along, so, okay, I never got really good at playing football, but the iron, the weightlifting, that always stuck with me. I just stuck with it, and then it just kind of made sense for me to then go into the business. And of course, you got to understand that back in the days when I was graduating high school, we didn't have like exercise science and, those kind of degrees. It wasn't a thing yet. Jack LaLanne, he started building his health clubs, and that was kind of our idea of, the fitness industry. Remember that? Those of you who are old enough, Jack LaLanne, he was this fitness guru way back then. But so I first got my certification, and then as we just kind of, moved that along, I ended up picking up several certifications along the way, and like many new fitness professionals, got my start in the big box gyms and fitness and some of the others like that. And then it was always my dream, just during that time, to build my own health club. And in 2003, I got to build Rocky Mountain Fitness Center, which was located in Buena Vista here, not just a couple hours up the road. And so tried a second location. Okay, that didn't go well, and then I sold off Buena Vista and then took over a existing Fitness Together franchise, a personal training studio. And during a time when the economy just really was just not in good shape. And so I, in a short time later, had to close that. I repurposed myself, and then hence came Optimal Fitness Systems in 2009. And throughout that period, and even before like a lot of this was happening, it's like over the years, like as you saw, like a lot of my specialties involved, like disease recovery and injury recovery, which you're going to hear me talk a little bit more in detail about as I move into the next phase, as I continue my business continues to pivot. And as we move that along, you'll see that it's just so much of like a lot of my work over the years is I didn't really plan it this way, but somebody like, who had a stroke would come to me and say, hey, Oliver, like, how can you help, like my husband or my dad with his Parkinson's disease, their Alzheimer's, or, like MS. And then it was really over the last probably 10, maybe 15 years that I really made the effort to now research this, study this. And now I'm writing a book about it. As an author, writer, I enjoy writing. And my first book, well, actually, second book, my first book was just kind of a cheesy ebook. Hey, I mean, it's good information, but not people say, okay, that's not a real book. You got to publish it, all right? So my second book, which will be called Overcoming Disease Through Neuromotor Training, okay, which I'm sure our last guest, Joy, understands very well. It's like as you kind of get into the neurology, like the nervous system, how our brain tells our nervous system to now tell our body what function to perform. It's like when that gets interrupted, like in the case of a stroke, it's like what happens? It's like that brain is not working. This nervous system is not working. We know now that not only can we slow down the effects of disease, we can reverse it. That has been proven, yes. So it just gives me joy to be able to see folks just recover, like such as Joy, to be able to just not only survive through disease, but learn to thrive, which Joy does very well. So thank you for sharing, Joy. And it's like that is just kind of became my passion to then advocate for like chronic disease, injury recovery, helping older adults. We all age, whether we like it or not. Okay? Hey, sorry, Brian. Yeah, you're going to get there too, all right? The next big pivot was I became an inventor. And particularly with back disease or back pain, which, yeah, can feel like a disease, it's just that the number one industrial injury and the number one pain complaint is back. So with that, I invented what I call the erectorcizer, and yes, I'm still thinking of a better name for that, but as the name, here's an announcement, and this goes out to all of you too. If you can help me come up with a better name, you will win a $100 gift card. Okay, so, and I've got some good ones out there, but the point being is that, okay, the erector muscles at the back, it's hard to isolate until now. Okay, I lost Frank, all right. But the point being is that it's like the erector muscles, those are kind of what I call the weak link of, why it's like, but it's hard to isolate until now. And just kind of a brief description of like how the exercise is performed. Not much to it. But that simple exercise will now isolate the erectors, and I got testimonials of folks who've now gone through my program, and which involves like what I call my back care recovery program, which involves like understanding like how hip mobility works, how stretching helps now loosen up some of the other synergistic muscles to now be able to do that. So, but anyway, so throughout that time, this is the kind of how I've come to build my business, and I'm out of time, so go ahead and ask your questions, and this is how you could get a hold of me. Thank you very much.